What's good, YouTube, man? It's Movie Reacts back again with another reaction video, man. We got why Drake just dissed Kendrick Lamar again. As you guys know, Drake dropped that freestyle where he was basically talking about LeBron, talking about some Irish shit, which basically is a dig at the high school uniform that LeBron used to wear with the Fighting Irish. So we're finna watch this video to see why Drake decided, to diss him, which is crazy. But yeah, let's get into it.
Now, Drake has just dissed Kendrick Lamar, but in a way that we have not seen from him in quite some time, as to kick off this new year in hip-hop, instead of ranting on streams or whining on social media, Drake has actually gotten back in the booth and has released a new song where instead of switching genres or languages in an attempt to try and just run away from everything that Kendrick Lamar did to him and represented, now Drake is once again trying to take him head on with nothing more than his bars and a beat from Conductor Williams. And now, as this marks just in a few days the second full-on record that is dissing Kendrick Lamar to come out this year, and this is from none other than Drake, what is clear is that the rap game is running around and trying to find a way to take down the undisputed champion of everything, and really with Drake here, what it seems like he's trying to specifically do is, after seeing how every single way he tried to make a comeback just failed miserably, whether that was releasing more music, switching genres, or trying to be a full-on streamer. Now Drake is trying to get back in the rap game by poking Kendrick enough to the point where it gives him the attention that he would otherwise never get at this point. But now, before we dive into every single diss Drake throughout it,
I mean, bro, if the nigga gonna decide to diss, bro, I like the format of actually just, rapping. I prefer that shit than going on podcasts and niggas saying some subliminals and all that kind of shit. I think he was reading that one thing and he was like, oh, fuck Ken, and then like stop there. I'm like, bro, that's corny as fuck. It's actually good to get in the booth or release something music related. These niggas is rappers. If we wanted to watch streamers beef, we would have went and watched Kai and them niggas. But it's like, yo, I at least respect him for at least, going back to the pen and letting his frustration out that way.
At Kendrick here and why he is saying all of these things at this very moment, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so now with this new track from Drake, which is seemingly titled Fighting Irish, right in line with everything else he has done ever since he lost to Kendrick Lamar within a fashion like we have never seen before. This song is very emotional, and Drake is showing that his feelings did really get hurt bad in this beef, but instead of acting like a total clown, Drake is at least putting this sadness and bitter feeling of loss back into the bars directly, which, hey, after somehow managing to make every single wrong choice for almost an entire calendar year, this is somewhat of a step in the right direction. And now with Drake actually presenting himself within a way that somebody who calls themselves an MC always should, for better or for worse, he does say a lot here and seemingly does two main things, which the first one is to try and justify the crash out he has been on and why he's been acting like the biggest fool in music right now, but then also, and in the greater sense, he is trying to get back in some sort of musical conflict with Kendrick Lamar, because for the first time since Family Matters, Drake is actually flipping Kendrick's bars from his diss tracks to try and dispute them, and instead of just denying everything in the strangest way possible like he did on The Hard Part 6, Drake is somewhat on the offensive here, despite how weird it is that he is doing this all of these months later. And so now, after Drake starts this track off by admitting that during this legendary summer that was going on in hip-hop, he just completely missed it, which I guess is his way of saying that he never delivered those summer vibes that he promised after the beef, which I mean, I guess some self-awareness is better than nothing.
As soon as you put the
Yeah, the shit that he started doing right after the beef was crazy. Think that Delilah song, he tried to go do some Hispanic songs, some weird sounds after the beef that showed niggas like, yo, this nigga doesn't know what's really going on as far as like what to release after this beef. So the acknowledgement is a good part, Sometimes you gotta backtrack and be like, damn, how do we attack, the future versus, just continue to do the same shit, because that's crazy.
Drake immediately gets back into his delusional bag as he tries to call out Kendrick and find ways to discredit and diminish his win, as after framing himself as the victim of the entire music industry, he tries to discredit everything with bars like "the world fell in love with the gimmicks, even my brothers got tickets." Which now the first part of this bar is of course trying to say that everything Kendrick did against him was a gimmick, and that's just trying to underplay what all of it meant and represented in the greater sense of hip-hop and the music industry as a whole. Which I don't even have to go into how pathetic and wrong of a statement that is, and really
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
For Drake to even use this angle is still showing that he is trying to rewrite and revise history in his own delusional way instead of moving forward. But what's actually showing us something new here is in the second part of this bar, where Drake is referring to all of the people who turned sides on him, and specifically, people who he once considered friends who he thought would never leave his side, which includes names like LeBron James, DeMar DeRozan, and James Harden, who all seemingly...
I mean, if we talk about LeBron, bro, like, let's be honest, bro. Like, yes, Drake and LeBron being cool since, like, back when he was coming out. Like, when they did that old song with Kanye West, all them niggas on the song, with LeBron James and all that. It's like, yes, these niggas been cool. But if you look at who LeBron is, bro, if you look at what he stands for, his family, his, stability, never gotten in trouble, never done anything crazy. He's like the stand-up role model for everybody. Is there for his kids, has raised his kids, has a son playing with him in the NBA. If you look at Drake and then you look at a Kendricklamar and what Kendrick raps about, when shit goes to, when shit hits the fan, who do you think LeBron is most likely to side with? The nigga whose values align with the values of his. Like, I feel like Kendrick, with the shit that he was rapping about, all the stuff he was calling out, and who's Drake, Drake's character, who he has always been, I feel like LeBron fucks with, I guess they're beefing now, fucked with Drake because maybe that's the nigga who was just, accessing money. Niggas always in the same place. Niggas is popping. Music is being played everywhere. This nigga is the biggest star in the fucking NBA. So it was kind of inevitable that those two paths would, cross. But if we look at it from, like, a soul-to-soul type of thing and actually dig deep, you would see why LeBron would inevitably side with a Kendrick. That's what I
chose Team Kendrick by going to one of the greatest shows of all time, which of course happened right after Drake took his L with the pop out. And now with Drake actually being a little introspective here and reflecting on how he felt within a way that's actually human, this part is not bad in isolation. But of course, when you remember that he has already shown how he's felt about guys like LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan turning on him, as he has already done things like unfollowing guys like LeBron, and in the case of DeMar DeRozan, he...
Bro, going on social media when you claim you this gangster shit and your way of showing like you got quarrel with a nigga is, hey, I'm follow this nigga. Yeah.
crashed out at him in person when he went to the Raptors game, which was just so embarrassing. Altogether, when you see the real-life way that Drake handled these things, it really does take away from the moment and just makes Drake seem more pathetic than ever when you know the reality of how he reacted as opposed to how it's portrayed in the lyrics. And now beyond these lines, where things in this track really pick up and get a lot more intense, especially in terms of Drake just sending a clear signal for Kendricklamar to come back down and diss him again, is in the second verse, as Drake here really codes this entire performance to not just be written with language and subtle cues that are flipping terms that are associated with Kendricklamar and his side of the hip-hop world as a whole. But what's most important here, and if this track makes any sort of impact or causes any sort of reaction, it will be because of this, is the section in this verse where he says, who's got the most to lose and who's in that other position? See no conversations, boy, I hope they got double encryption. I hate to see the empire crumble on Judge's conviction.
I hate to see the empire crumble on Judge's conviction after you sue the nigga is crazy. Like, that's just wild. Like, this nigga literally goes against everything that OG niggas in hip-hop have always rapped about. This nigga, with that move to, like, yes, he wasn't going, like, you suing Kendrick directly, but still, like, that, yeah, man, that's fucking crazy.
This pulled a rabbit out the hat and y'all love a magician. Drake is addressing a lot of things as he sets this moment up with the first bar, which is undermining Kendricklamar and making him look like this bigger and more important figure than he will ever be. Which again, when we look at Drake's performance here, this is another one of its failures because I don't know why he is going about this same strategy again. Because his ability to not see Kendrick as an equal is one of the most vital factors to why he never even stood a chance in this beef. Because
Yep, that is crazy, bro. Like, during this entire beef, bro, Kendricklamar, even though it, to me, it's sarcasm. When his like, his three ghosts left, and I see two of them kissing and hugging on stage, he is basically showing you respect by even calling you a goat. Like, he may not respect the shit that you do, like how you go about it, but it's like the nigga is basically saying, yo, you a goat in this shit, showed you your respect and all this kind of stuff. But for this nigga to still continue, even on the hard part, says, but yeah, you would be a worthy partner, all this kind of, fuck out of here. But that shit crazy.
His own failure in judgment made him underestimate one of the greatest and most competitive rappers of all time. But now, after saying this, no matter how delusional it may be, he sends out another warning to Kendrick and his camp about how he hopes that they have been covering their tracks for everything they have been doing to seemingly manipulate the entire music industry and hip-hop world against him, which, again, this is just a diss that is derived from Drake's straight delusions, and very similar to the Heart Part 6, where Drake just lied to try and sound tough and act like he knew more than he did. This just seems like another rendition of that horrible tactic, but the stakes do get even higher from here, as then Drake says, I hate to see the empire crumble on Judge's convictions, which is the first time we are hearing him address his lawsuit on a track. And now the message that he's trying to send with this line is showing that he both hopes he can win this thing to save his career, but then he is also mocking.
Even if this nigga goes and wins the lawsuit, it's still a major L in the public eye. I don't care what niggas say. Like, that's not respectable. Like, nigga, you had records popping on the radio. You signed to the same distribution deal with UMG. These niggas clearly told you, yo, you niggas drop tracks, and the people chose. And the people chose not like us. It was a popping record. That's a song that everybody's been playing. Like, bro, I still hear this shit. I legit was just watching a goddamn football game, and niggas was still playing the game in the song in his 2025, bro. Like, you cannot deny the popularity of that song, and for this nigga to come out and is still trying to like act like, yo, that these niggas did this and that. If these niggas did this and that, I don't know if these niggas are thinking like this, bro. But it might come out where they actually expose his ass for maybe some of the tactics that he may have used in, being able to sustain his run for so long. Who knows what he was doing? Like, you never know. Like, I feel like this is it's one of these lawsuits that can backfire quickly on Drake, man, and I don't know.
Kendrick with this bar simultaneously by saying that he hopes the truth doesn't come out because that will ruin all of the success that Kendrick has had in this moment. Even though with all the evidence presented and with the fact that we all lived through this moment and just saw the people get inspired by something Kendrick did like nothing else in hip-hop has in years, no one believes anything Drake is trying to claim about Kendrick and the success of Not Like Us as a whole. But now adding even more lyrics aimed in response to Kendrick in this track, Drake officially answers back to some of the biggest disses Kendrick threw out against him on the song that changed everything in Meet the Grams, as he tries to explain that he doesn't have a drinking problem, but then kind of admits he does have the problem, but then ultimately justifies it by saying it's subtle. And then trying to cope even more with all of this and wherever he's trying to go from here,
he's trying to save face, bro. He's just trying to, like, clean things up and all that. But some niggas really live in this, like, world where they think everything revolves around them. These, like, narcissistic type of views. And that's dangerous, bro. Like, when you put that type of view with a nigga who has power, money, and access, that's a lot of shit that go together that shouldn't go together, man. And it's crazy because, hey, shout out to the nigga.
And says, I got my father's habits and my mother's permission. And then again, making this entire section and response to Kendrick even more confusing. He builds on this saying, my dad got another child. I told him that wasn't my sister. And here?
I wonder what that was about, honestly. Let me hear this nigga explain this shit, because I'm confused. I don't know what he was going on about that. Hold on.
Is directly flipping Kendrick's lines about him having some serious issues, but with the way he goes about it, I don't really think this is the flex he thinks it is. And with the last bar here especially, he is seemingly expanding on Kendrick's claims about him having a daughter by then saying his dad had another child, which then I guess is trying to deflect that bar just away from him and on his father, or at least that's really the only way this bar makes some sort of sense in the context it's written in. And now with all of this,
Especially when he was like, I got some of my father's habits, but my daughter has, not my daughter, but my father has a daughter. He might want to run that, but a ghostwriters, man, let him know, like, hey, yo, cuz, what y'all mean by this? What y'all mean by this, nigga?
Which together includes Drake trying to intimidate Kendrick
Hell
with
no.
his litigation, and then sees him responding to Kendrick's disses on Meet the Grams by saying everything he said is still kinda half true. All in all, while some people are going to be impressed by this and claim that Drake is back because cadence-wise he is rapping coherently over a Conductor Williams beat, when you actually try to break down what he is saying and see the things he is trying to flip, all while once again trying to call Kendricklamar an underdog even after he has overtaken him in every single category possible. All this song really is the same story with a different presentation from Drake, and as he is still showing that he has learned no lessons from this beef whatsoever, and really that even despite losing, he is still using the same angles and losing strategy to try and make any sort of comeback, and even beyond all of these things, making this song even more jarring, another question we have to ask ourselves entirely is why do all of this now? I mean, when you put everything into perspective, Drake is already lost, and the actual back and forth of this beef is over in terms of diss tracks being put out. So really from Drake releasing this song where he is just ranting about a reality that he could have tried to fix way before this but didn't, all in all, while this song may be a bright spot for him in what has been one of the worst career runs both on the mic and off of it that we have ever seen from a rapper, this song is still nothing special as he's not pushing the needle forward, and really for Kendrick,
Yeah, I feel like me personally, the nigga does not know how to accept defeat. The nigga does not know how to accept reality for what it is. That there is another nigga that's out there that could be better than you at this shit. Some niggas is hard. Like, pause. Some niggas is it's crazy. Like, some athletes, like, you know, there'd be some athletes like, yo, they'll have a great career, but then when the team says, hey, yo, cuz we gotta cut you, they be like, yo, I got so much left in the tank, I got all that bull, you know, all this, and then they don't realize that, you know, time is passing them by, and reality is, you know, there are niggas who are eventually gonna catch up to you or even pass you, and the worst thing you can do is not realize that. But then what's even worse is underestimating that, like underestimating the threats. Like, that's, yeah.
if the goal of this song was to create just enough attention to get back in the conversation with him without being directly engaged in a full-on back and forth, well, Drake still failed at that because really, what does Drake say here that makes Kendrick need to come back out and prove something to him once again? Because of course, Kendrick has already won the beef, he has the Super Bowl, he has an entire stadium tour planned, and he has the most successful rap album out right now.
He's doing a tour and performing twice in your city. That's crazy.
So really with Kendrick controlling everything right now, and Drake responding back to a few lines from a song that dropped over a half a year ago here, this is just another confusing move from Drake. But now what's really interesting is that as more rappers are coming back onto the scene and coming at Kendrick, and what's also interesting is that from Joey to Drake to even with J. Cole's 7-minute drill, they all dissed him over beats that were from none other than Conductor Williams. Well, maybe something is going on in 2025, and because of all the power Kendricklamar has, we are now going to see more MCs than ever, from Drake to everyone else, just try to pull out everything they can in their power to stop him from becoming the undisputed GOAT. And so now with all that said, let me know. What do you think about this new track from Drake, and what do you think this does to help his image right now in this time where he has been on one of the worst runs of all time? Now, I can't.
One of the things that Kendrick is really doing strategically that a lot of people don't understand, man, if we go into another hip-hop battle where all these niggas are trying to gang up on Kendrick, kind of like similar to how niggas was ganging up on Drake, this nigga has an entire coast behind him. Like, he's really, like, strategizing in a way, like, yo, with that GNX album release, putting on niggas from the city, niggas on the underground, niggas from the city fuck with him. The moment Joey Badass dropped that little diss, like, talking about the East Coast, this type of shit, niggas from the West Coast, Daylight, you know, J Hitter 3, all them niggas all came out and started going crazy, like, saying that shit was ass, that shit doesn't deserve a response, bro. Like, these niggas from the West Coast see Kendrick a certain way, and he can do no wrong to them niggas. And it's gonna be insane when niggas is trying to take him out, knowing, yo, this nigga has a whole coast. He's building up equity. He's building up, you know, he already has the image that's damn near like, yo, unless Drake was like to release some video of this nigga hitting her, like hitting Whitney with like an RKO or something. I don't know how you tarnish that nigga's legacy at this point after the shit that he said about you. To me, that whole diss track or that Irish freestyle thing kind of sounds like Drake kind of doing what he was doing on the Hard Part 6, just kind of trying to explain that, hey, this isn't me, this isn't that and that. But then again, it's like he said, the deeper you look into these lyrics, man, doesn't really help.
Wait to hear what you have to say about this, and if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And now, if you want to see how just as Drake dissed Kendrick Lamar again, Kendrick has another new opponent rising who may just make this year more competitive than ever in hip-hop. Check out the suggested video.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna respond to Joey Badass. I want to see other niggas who are like, you know, like a second tier or third tier niggas respond to Joey Badass from the West, and then see how that goes. And then not like a whole East Coast, West Coast type of thing, just a competitive, you know, little, as long as niggas ain't killing and shooting each other. You know that. But anyways, man, if you really like this format, reacting to this, you know, pop culture news and stuff like that, man, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. Other than that, man, I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Nigga out.